And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens. My co-host is Jackson Probst.
How's your fall been, Jeff?
It's good so far, my man. And then our guest today making her initial appearance is Envoy Cari Shepherd. She's an officer with the Salvation Army USA, located in Mattoon, Illinois. Welcome, Cari.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here, and I am going to have you come a little closer to that mic. Talk maybe for folks who don't know what all the Salvation Army does and maybe some of your main duties. Give us an overview before we get into some details.
Yeah. So the Salvation Army in Mattoon is actually of Coles and Cumberland Counties. So we service both counties equally. We have so many different programs. We have a huge food pantry. We do emergency housing for people in homeless or domestic violence type situation. We also will help do rent, utilities like electric, water. We do gas vouchers, clothing vouchers, furniture vouchers. You name it, we can probably take care of it for you.
And you said off mic that you guys were in a pretty good funding state, so it's probably a good time because it seems like more people than ever are utilizing your services.
Yeah, yep. We're seeing about 900 people a month come through the building. In September alone, we did 475 different households just through the food pantry alone. We saw 63 emergency housing nights and hotels. We case managed 92 more individuals and then gave 83 referrals to other agencies. And then 265 individuals we assisted with electric, water, different utility bills of different sorts. So we're definitely hopping.
What do you attribute the major need right now for services like this? I mean, the economy, or what is it?
Yeah, I think a lot of it boils down to the economy. Just the whole world costs a lot more than it used to. So I think that's a huge part of it. And then also kind of the uncertainty and fear with all the different political government things. People they're nervous, they're worried. So I think they're reaching out for assistance more because of that.
Gotcha. Throughout your time at the Salvation Army, what has been your favorite aspect of being a part of the Salvation Army?
Oh, gosh, there's so many. I love when a family comes into the pantry and the kids are like, they run up, they're like, hey, Miss Cari, and they remember you, and they remember that I was kind, or like we stopped and colored with them. The kid interactions, I guess, is my favorite part.
That's awesome.
How often, and when you do collaborations, how do you decide within the Mattoon or the Cumberland County community, how do you decide who you collaborate with, and how's that work?
Yeah, we love collaborating with everybody. We work a lot through the United Way. We're one of their partner agencies. We work hand in hand a lot with IRBA and CEFS. We do a lot with the Haven in Mattoon. The Carpenter's Table here in Charleston. We also work with the EIU food pantry. We coordinate with Crystal Brown. So if there are students or kiddos here, not kiddos, I guess students here at EIU that need resources too, we definitely want to help reach out and support the students as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
Crystal's a good friend of the station, and she does a great job
She's
up
a
there
sweetheart.
at the food court. I mean, the food pantry, which is relatively new here on campus last couple of years, if I'm right.
Yeah.
What inspired you to get into this line of work? Not everybody can do what you do. So what inspired you? Was there a moment in time that you said, I know I want to get back?
It's kind of a little bit of a roundabout weird thing. So my background
We like weird.
We like weird.
Yeah.
So my background is actually in the medical field, medical records, HR staffing, all of that kind of thing. And then COVID hit. So I decided to switch gears. I thought I wanted to be an accountant, so I went back to Lakeland to get an accounting degree, decided I hated accounting. So, and then I worked through Lifelinks as a crisis responder. So this past summer of June of 2024, our church or our corps found ourselves without an officer. There were no spare officers to send us. So headquarters actually reached out to me and they said, hey, you already volunteer here and you go to church here and you're passionate, you love it. Why don't you just be the officer? Told him no 3 times. Finally on time number 4, I was like, okay, all right, I'll hear you out. So, but then it was kind of an interesting thing because the medical records and central supply and staffing, plus a little bit of an accounting background, then plus the crisis response, when you look at it as a culmination, it's kind of like, oh, that's why those cards fell how they fell. So I just kind of randomly fell in it, but love every second.
And a unique story is that you are pretty much, you can stay there as long as you want, I guess, for lack of a better way to
Yep.
say it, because of the way the Corps works.
Yeah, so most Salvation Army officers travel or get stationed or moved all over the country up to all over the world. So my type of officership is called an Envoy, which basically means I am married, but my husband is not a pastor with me. I fly solo. So that means then that the Salvation Army headquarters won't be able to move me locations. They can ask me to move, they can fire me, but they can't force me to move. So the goal or the plan is to be in this position until I retire, which I'm old, but I still have about 20 years to go. But I'm hoping that that'll bring some continuity. I'm the 7th officer in the Mattoon Corps since 2011.
Ooh, that's a
so
lot.
that's
Wow.
a lot. So I'm really hoping this continuity will help the community.
Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned that you cover 2 counties, Coles and Cumberland.
That's correct.
What is the most amount of counties do you know of that a Salvation Army covers, like currently covers or can cover?
Yeah, so that is kind of a unique question. So a lot of Salvation Armies, like if you think of a high metro area like St. Louis, there's actually 6 Salvation Armies in St. Louis. So they look more at it from a population standpoint. So when you add up Coles and Cumberland County both, don't quote me on, I don't know if it's accurate, but you're looking at about probably 38 to 40-ish thousand people between the 2 counties. So they look at that more so than the number of counties. They look more towards the population.
Okay. Is there like a cap on like how many, like based on like, oh, hit this many people, like we need another Salvation Army to help cover it, or like how does that work?
Not really, but we do have an added layer of support called extension centers. So surrounding areas around here like Moultrie, Shelby, Effingham County, they don't have a full-blown Salvation Army like what I am, but they have extension centers. So they can refer people to us, we can refer people to them, and they're kind of like a stopping point along the journey. So where we can kind of mix and match resources and collaborate with other counties.
Gotcha.
What does like a typical week in your life look like when you are running the Salvation Army, the thrift store, the church, and all that?
Yeah. So we're busy. Normally Monday through Friday, it's the normal. I help with social services. I am a certified caseworker, so I help do intakes and case manage different clients and help with resources. I'm also the only one in the office, so I do all the accounts receivables, accounts payables, supply ordering. And then I'm also the acting thrift store manager, so I do all of the hiring, the firing, the HR type things on a local level. And then, of course, I'm the pastor, so I do the Bible studies on Wednesdays and preach on Sunday. So
You get Saturdays off, it appears.
if the thrift store's staffed, I get Saturdays off. But now that we're getting ready to jump into kettle season, so Christmas in the Salvation Army world already started. So our kettle season will officially kick off November 15th. So then I basically just move into my office. If I could get a cot that was comfortable enough, I would go for it. Haven't found a comfortable one yet, but so that really cranks into our busy season.
Yeah, I mean, people really correlate the kettle season and Salvation Army. That's something that's been, I guess, forever, for lack of a better way to say it. But so when kettle season starts, I mean, how many different places do you have at once, and what are your plans for Coles and Cumberland County for kettle 2025?
So there's 2 different kinds of kettles. There is the standard ones you see outside Walmart, just people walk in and walk out, and that's probably the most common, and it's iconic. It's in every Christmas movie or Christmas commercial you can see. If you look, they're in the background somewhere. And actually, the Salvation Army has been up in Mattoon since 1890.
Holy cow.
So
Wow.
I'd say we've
Okay.
been around for a little while. And then the other type of kettle we have are called counter kettles. They are maybe about 18 inches, 2 foot tall, and they sit literally on a counter at a restaurant or business. So people can drop change in it whenever they purchase something or eat at a restaurant. And so we actually only have 6 kettle sites, but we're always looking for more. So we put 2 out at the Mattoon Walmart, 2 at Charleston Walmart, Charleston County Market, and Mattoon Neiman's.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and then we actually, this year for the first time, we're super excited. Emerald Acres in Mattoon has actually invited us. So on Friday and Saturday for their big events, we can put a kettle outside as people are
Nice.
walking in and
That's
out of the
awesome,
event.
yeah.
And then we have about 75 or so counter kettles throughout Coles and Cumberland County. But we are always, always looking for new businesses or new partners that might be interested in letting us have a little bit of counter space.
Now, do you set a financial goal for every year? Like you want to raise so much money through kettle season?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a goal this year?
We do, and it's a lofty goal. We would need to, or our goal is to bring in $65,000 in through the kettles, either outside at the Walmart or on a counter kettle, and then we have an additional $35,000 that we're hoping to raise between when people just mail in or drop off a check or make an online donation. It goes into that bucket too. So
That's roughly 100,000.
yeah,
Wow.
that's good math. Good math.
Mathin'.
Oh, that's what you meant. I was
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about?
So that's our goal.
Yeah.
And one really cool thing that I don't think a lot of people know is if you walk past a kettle on Monday and you drop $5 in, I take it to the bank Monday night. By Tuesday, we can give it right back out in
That's
the form
awesome.
of utility assistance, rent assistance. It's that quick of a turnaround.
So you don't
And
have to wait till the season's over to help people out. You can help them out immediately.
It is a quick cash flow. Within 24 hours, we can process it back out.
You've only been with the Salvation Army for a year or so, a little over a year, I guess now. But you always hear like once a Christmas season that somebody drops some kind of fancy gold piece or nugget or diamond ring in there.
Yeah.
Do you have a story like that or locally, or have you heard of anything?
So what you're talking about are called cougarans, and it's
Okay.
actually a coin that comes from somewhere in South Africa is where they produce these coins. I specifically, because although I've only been employed in my role for a year, I've been a volunteer and have
Okay.
done 15 different kettle season years
Oh,
with the
wow.
Salvation Army. So we've never been lucky enough to get an actual cougaran, but other areas, I know Champaign has gotten them before, Indianapolis has gotten them before, because they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. We do occasionally get other unique things, like you can get an old, a valuable coin that might be worth $100, an antique coin. We get those. We get a lot of car wash tokens, which I didn't even know that was still a thing. We get random earrings. We have actually, on accident, someone dropped down a true diamond like engagement ring.
Okay.
So they
Maybe that's
called
what I
us.
was thinking about. I've heard of that.
Yeah, they called us. They identified it. We immediately, of course, returned it back to the person. It was clearly an accident. But we do get some odd things. A lot of shopping lists too. I think it's wrapped up in the dollars and they throw it in.
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah.
As long as they're wrapped up in dollars.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Yes,
I don't know
we
why-
like those.
I don't know why that was so funny to me. Just imagine, like, I don't know if you knew who the person like pulled that out of like the donation jar, but I can just imagine being the person that pulls the diamond ring, like,
Ooh, we can sell this. Excuse me.
Yeah, as a married woman, my heart just sinks. I was like, oh no.
You can see it happen. Yeah. We're talking to Envoy Cari Shepherd today from the Salvation Army that covers Coles and Cumberland County, located in Mattoon. What are the things, I mean, that you want to get out today about what's going on at the Salvation Army? Any other stuff you want to talk about before we can go back into some of our details?
Yeah, the number one thing my plea, I guess, to the community is we need your help. That $100,000 goal we talked about through the kettles, that's what we survive on all year long. We do get some grant funding and we do have the revenue from the thrift store, but those are never set in stone. Those can fluctuate or change or go away at any moment, especially with kind of the state of the uncertainty politically that's going on right now. We don't know month to month if we're going to get that grant funding. So our plea is, number one, we need volunteers. If someone walks past a kettle that doesn't have someone ringing the bell, people don't stop. So we are desperately asking for volunteers to ring at the counter or at the kettle sites, and then also even if it's even just $1, just drop that dollar in as you walk by, because that is how we fund our entire year, and that is solely dependent on who we can help and how many people we can assist. So I do shamelessly plug volunteers and donations this time of year.
That's why you're here.
yeah,
We understand
exactly,
clearly.
exactly.
The thrift store, I mean, is it open Monday through Saturday? Monday, what is it? And can people donate and take us through that process?
So we are open Monday through Friday from 9 to 6 and Saturday 10 to 4. And that is also a huge, huge way that you can help support the mission. We do accept donations during all of those business hours. The only thing we can't accept are used mattresses or big appliances like refrigerators and stoves. We just don't have this space.
Yeah.
But clothing, household items, holiday decorations, those items that come in is what we turn around and then can sell to the community. And that's that's how that revenue continues. So without the
So instead of throwing
donations,
stuff away.
Exactly.
absolutely. And we waste nothing, even if it's a clothing item. So maybe a shirt comes in that's badly stained or has a hole. We bag those up and they go on our rag truck, which we sell all those clothes back to a place in St. Louis. So we receive that revenue, and then that raw material gets reprocessed and shipped overseas. So those developing countries use that raw product to develop other rugs, clothes, etc. So nothing's wasted.
That's awesome.
Gotcha.
I know homelessness is an issue that people don't like to talk about as much in Coles County, but it seems like it's become more prevalent. I know you work with the Haven, but talk about the process if someone is having trouble and they need to reach out to you.
Yeah, and we do work with most of all of the shelters in the county, and just individuals and a lot of churches. So if you are experiencing homelessness or you are struggling to just figure things out, we do ask if you can call and make an appointment. That's best. If you can't, just stop on in our office. There is a little bit of an intake form. We do require just a little bit of background information, name, address, social security number, things like that. And then the number one thing is you have to have an action plan. So if we assist you and we put you in a hotel for a week, what are you going to do on day 8? But we don't just throw you out in the cold. We're going to help sit down and troubleshoot and connect with other resources, connect with the churches and the shelters to try to come up with a game plan for that person. We don't just kick them to the curb and say good luck. So we really try to address the person holistically.
That's neat. And then how many, do you keep track of that too, like number of people that you help with hotels every week or every year?
We do. And our fiscal year just ended September 30, so I apologize. I don't have the finalized number, but we do assist with, I would say, between 60 and 80 hotel nights a month. So of course, November through February, that number can even double, and then in the really hot summer months, that number can increase too. And then in spring and fall, when the weather's a little bit nicer, we don't see as much of a need. But the winter months, we absolutely will see a huge
Do you get a
increase.
special deal from the local hotels being the Salvation Army? I mean, do they work with you a little bit to help reduce the cost?
We do. We are so incredibly fortunate. We partner with Sweet Dreams Hotel and also Super 8 in Mattoon, and they are such kind, wonderful, supportive businesses. And they do work with us, and they allow us a little bit of grace, and they do show us a lot of generosity. So we are very, very fortunate to have those partners.
It's amazing.
Jackson?
So, you mentioned donations before. Other than like people like straight up giving money, what has been like some of the most popular like forms of donations you've gotten in the past?
Produce. Oh my gosh. Fresh produce when farmers, or if you harvest a deer and have extra deer meat or anything like that, you clean out your freezer. Food donations are also absolutely fantastic. There's so much food insecurity, and in the summer when the kids are out of school or over Christmas break, we'll see a massive, abrupt influx. So even cleaning out your pantry and dropping off food donations is huge.
You know, youth season was this past weekend. Did you guys get any deer meat from the feds this past weekend?
We
or no?
haven't yet. I'm still got my fingers crossed that some might trickle in, but we haven't as of yet.
I mean, shotgun season will be coming up here in the next couple months. So,
Yeah.
and obviously it's both
Talking
seasons,
like
so.
a Southern boy, right?
I mean, yeah.
You know, since you've been around for 15 years of the different cattle drives, what really has changed at the Salvation Army over those? Have you seen a lot of different people that have been in charge? But talk about some of the other changes inside the Salvation Army.
The number one thing I would say is technology. So even just 5 years ago, the use of online donations or even scheduling if you want to volunteer to be a bell ringer, just having that technology to where people can go online and they can see the schedule and sign up for things that even 5 years ago that didn't exist. So that's definitely been a huge change. And another thing, an unfortunate change we've seen is we have lost kettle sites. So, JCPenney's has closed, Big Lots has closed.
Right.
So a lot of those places we used to ring at, they don't exist anymore. So that has really put a huge damper. We've really taken a hard hit not having those extra sites.
So how do we convince people to become one of those sites? I mean, it really doesn't cost them anything. They just have to have someone standing outside their business for a month or so.
Yeah, it costs absolutely nothing. And a really unique thing that we're doing is if you ring at a kettle site and say you're a small business owner, we will even put a sign up on the kettle saying like, "Hey, sponsored by Joe's Pizza Shop," or whatever. That way you get the credit and the publicity that you partnered with us for the day. We also have different businesses that will do a match day for us. So they may say, okay, your kettle brought in $500. I'm going to donate an additional $500. Then we can put a big blast social media, Jeff Owens matched and gave us a $500 donation and publicly thank you and tag the business. So it also, but it when communities support each other and small businesses and nonprofits support each other, that's when things really will click into place.
And you said you need volunteer bell ringers and everything for the fall. Do you need volunteers inside the thrift store and the Salvation Army business itself?
Always. In the thrift store, we need people that will bring in donations, help sort it, hang clothes on hangers, sweep, dust, price things. And then we also need volunteers inside the business side to help make food pantry boxes or check clients in and out on the computer. Even during kettle season or winter season, because there is no secretary, there's nobody in the office. Even just having somebody, we affectionately call them a bouncer, but just to even be in the front office and accept those Christmas donations and shake hands and direct people where to go, because we are so busy. Even that kind of a volunteer is priceless this time of year.
I remember hearing once when I was little about one of the things at the Salvation Army was one of the first businesses, I know you're not really a business, but in a way you are, that gave second chances to people who had had a really rough life, maybe a felony or just maybe a misdemeanor or something. You guys, is that still a process that you do?
It
Talk
is.
about that.
I have goosebumps. I'm so glad you brought that up. We are the land of second chances. So if you have a certain types of crimes or felonies or misdemeanors, unless it is something that would be a direct threat to the community.
Yeah, I get it,
we don't hold that against you. If you want to be a volunteer, even community service workers, we accept them in with open arms, and we don't judge them or discount them because of the past. We all have a past. Everybody has made a mistake at some point in their life, and we don't hold it against you for it. And in fact, those kinds of individuals can be the best advocates for the community because they've been there. I myself, I had a period of time where I was in a very domestic violence abusive situation and spent some time in the homeless shelter in Charleston with my kids. But it allows you to have some empathy and sympathy for people going through that same situation because we've all been there at some point or another. So I love being the land of second chances and just welcoming everybody in because of it.
That's awesome. That's God working through you right there.
Absolutely.
How do you handle the emotional toll of doing what you do? I mean, you deal with people in crisis every day of your life almost. How do you deal with that personally?
First and foremost, I pray. Talk to God about it, get it off my chest, discuss it. I have some fantastic mentors and Christian leaders in our church and then also at our headquarters that I reach out to and decompress and talk to. I have the best, fantastic staff. I have there's 5 other people that work in our building who are right there in the thick of it with us. They see the best of the best and the worst of the worst too. So we all kind of debrief and decompress and talk to each other. And then we also, my thing is I try to find a silver lining in it or try to find a happy moment in a situation. You can have a family that is extremely, extremely down on their luck. It's the worst sob story, a house fire. But you may be able to somehow pull out that silver lining, like, yes, this terrible thing happened, but this came out of it. So you just have to try to look for the good because it's there somewhere. You may have to dig around for a bit, but it's there.
It's always there.
So
We're talking to Cari Shepherd today. We have about 4 minutes left. Anything, Jackson, from your point of view?
I did have I think one thing I'm trying to remember what the heck.
Well, you're thinking about it.
was, yeah.
How do you measure success? I mean, on a year or quarterly basis, what are the factors that go into the Cari Shepherd success ratio?
Of course, the political answer, the correct answer is to say stats, that we look back on the stats and we say we helped X amount of people this year. But for me personally, even if I can make a difference for one person today on a deeper level versus 10 people superficially, I did a good job. And just being able to go home at the end of the day and take a deep breath and say, man, it was crazy and it was busy and it was hectic, but I helped somebody. That it's just the best feeling in the world.
There you go. It's a good
That's
answer.
awesome, yeah. You did mention COVID before, and obviously, like, everyone, like, it affected, like, a lot of businesses. But, like, how did you guys, like, recover from, like, COVID?
5 years later, we're still working on it. With COVID, we did see some shutdowns of some programs in our building. We used to have an extremely active after-school and summer program because of COVID and funding and lack of, you can't have kids in the building, so there's no revenue from that. We lost a lot of programs, and that has been the number one thing that we've seen because of COVID specifically.
Gotcha.
That is on my 5-year trajectory. I would love, love, love to open all of those programs back up, but it's going to require the funding and it's going to require donors and generosity of businesses. But that is on my 5-year plan. I'd love to see it in 3, but I'm going for 5. We want those programs back open.
Gotcha. What else is on your 5-year plan? Like, what do you want? What else would you like to see out of the Salvation Army?
I just want to see nonprofits and different groups just banding together. We are all for fighting for the greater good, and we all kind of have our niches and what we're really good at, and just being able to build that relationship with each other and knowing, we may be really good at food pantry, but you may be really good at assisting with a different type of referral. Just knowing who is who and where they all are. I just want to see just the building back of relationships, I guess.
There you go.
That's awesome.
What do you get asked the most?
Oh, gosh. Probably 2 things. How can we help, or how can you help me? That's probably the number 1 and 2 things that we get asked.
All right. Any other questions from you?
I did have one. You said, like, finding volunteers could sometimes be difficult, and, like, obviously you guys are still kind of recovering from COVID. Other than that, what are some other challenges that you guys encounter? Like, you can either be, like, on a daily basis, or, like, on a long-term basis, anything.
Yeah, we do struggle a lot with the homeless population and the different people in the community. They come to us and we put a Band-Aid on it, and then we can't make the long-term connection. And that's something that we're struggling with, is just having that continuity in the long-term and longevity in the holistic approach. We do our very, very best, but I think that's where the other resources and locking all the other community resources together is how we're going to fix that.
Got it.
What's the best way to get a hold of Cari Shepherd if somebody's out there and wants to be in all the different volunteers, businesses, or whatever?
Yeah, we on our Facebook page, we have my email address, our office phone numbers. And honestly, a really great way is through Facebook message. We monitor that 24/7. I try to respond back within a couple hours as best we can. But my email address and everything is right there on the website. So definitely reach out if we can help.
All right. One silly question. Are you a roller coaster lover? Do you like roller coasters?
No.
What about you, Jackson?
Are you a coffee or tea person?
Oh, coffee.
Okay,
100%.
yeah. I gave a bunch of tours today, and, like, nobody was like either. I'm like, no, you don't like coffee or tea? Like,
We're out of time. Thanks so much for coming in, Cari.
Thank you for having
Hope
me.
to have you soon again. We are WEIU.